Here we are, a load of sneering, contemptible actors attempting to caricature the views of ordinary Britain. Notice they're all white. They're not only condescending, they're utterly deluded on the European Court of Human Rights being the bedrock of British freedom and liberty.
They took our sovereignty, our dignity, the very essence of our Britishness. And what has the European Convention of Human Rights ever done for us in return?
Oh, the right to a fair trial.
What?
The right to a fair trial.
Well, that's true, I suppose.
The right to privacy?
Well, yes, all right. I grant you fair trials and privacy are two things the European Convention of Human Rights has given us. But...
What about freedom from torture and degrading treatment?
Freedom of religion?
Freedom of expression.
Freedom from discrimination.
Oh, how about freedom from slavery?
Oh, my God.
freedom from slavery goes without saying. But...
Protecting victims of domestic violence.
Okay. But apart from the right to a fair trial, the right to privacy, freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom from discrimination, freedom from slavery, and freedom from torture.
And degrading treatment.
And degrading treatment. And protecting victims of domestic violence. But apart from these, what has the European Convention on Human Rights ever done for us?
Right, sod that. I'm not listening to any more of that. They are blissfully ignorant, these celebrities. They don't understand that the ECHR was merely exporting the kind of liberties and checks on power that Britain had championed for centuries, longer than any of us have been alive, longer than the ECHR's existed. Fair trials, well, have you ever heard of the Magna Carta, jury trial, habeas corpus? Have you ever heard of any of those? They're British staples. They've been that long before the ECHR stepped in and copied most of what we had. Yet, seemingly, they're not practiced across many parts of Europe where the ECHR is the supposed law of the land. Torture in Britain was off the English menu by 1640. And I tell you what, I'll wager you a Greggs sausage roll that they've not even flipped through our Bill of Rights. The list of homegrown freedoms is as long as the Tyne. And this notion that the ECHR is the bastion of our freedom is utterly laughable. It's become a factory for churning out rights out of thin air. And it's just, these rights are the opinion of liberal judges. The right to climate change action is the latest fashion. And British lawyers, they had a hand in drafting the ECHR, but to suggest that they intended it to overrule the protections that were already enshrined at home, they never expected the ECHR to apply in Britain. It's a bit like saying a Geordie built the Tyne Bridge to get to Sunderland. It's a nonsense. The civil code and Roman law might well rule the roost on the continent, but they're often at odds with the very liberties we here in Britain hold dear and that British people, Englishmen and women, have fought for over many, many centuries. So let's call this exactly what it is. A patronising, sanctimonious attempt at scaring us. It is a load of anti-British BS.